I don't know that many knots, but of those that I do know, the most useful and the one I tie the most often is probably this one. The bowline puts a really sturdy loop into the end of a piece of cord, and it's a loop that has two very nice characteristics. The first is that because of the way it's formed, it wants to hang slightly open, which makes it very easy to thread over your tent pegs or your hook or whatever it is you're trying to attach to. The second really nice feature is that even if you soak this in water and load it up as hard as you can, it will always remain really easy to undo. You just give this loop on the back a little bit of movement and the whole thing just falls apart, which is incredibly useful. It saves you ever having to cut your rope. Very, very pleasing indeed. Bowline is a very easy knot to tie. All you do, make a loop in your line. This is where the junction of the loop will be. Send the end up through that loop, back down under your main line, up, and then back through that loop. Pull it tight. If you're the kind of person who prefers a mnemonic to instructions, then for tying a bowline, you make a rabbit hole. The rabbit comes up through the hole. He runs around the back of the tree and then jumps back down the rabbit hole. Now, I know when I'm learning knots on YouTube, I always wish they'd talk a bit less and tie the knots a bit more. So here it is again. Make a loop, up through the loop, down around the back of your main line, back up again, and back down through that first loop. Pull it all tight. So there you have it, the bowline. A very simple and incredibly useful knot. I think also quite an aesthetically pleasing knot. Some knots are prettier than others, and this one has a rather nice plaited loaf look about it. It's very pleasant. I've learned a few others recently as well, and since I've learned them, I've found ways to use them, which is really cool. I've always loved knots, but this is the first time I've actually had any sort of in my memory, and it's a nice thing to know how to do. So I'm far from being an expert, but I might do some more knot videos. Maybe I'll do some more, or maybe not. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's it for now. Please do consider subscribing or liking or commenting, or all those things that people do on the internet these days. Bye.